Welcome back to the Frontline Fantasy Football Podcast. This is your host, Jason Cameron, and I'm here with my co-host, Jonathan Hausler.
Hello.
And the producer, the eyes and ears, Seth Hansen.
I'm back.
Finally, after a couple weeks.
2 weeks off, man.
A return. So Jonathan does not have to play two roles this week.
I'm so glad.
That's good for him, though.
Yeah, making a more diverse role for Jonathan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mixing it up.
I mean, he pretty much is this podcast.
Pretty much.
What do you do?
Don't discount Jason over here.
I don't know what I do. I did rank stuff.
This is just your brainchild.
Yeah. All right, so
Your place.
today is Wednesday, December 13th. We are going into the second week of the playoffs if you're following the ESPN traditional settings. And I know I'm sitting in the lead right now in one of my favorite leagues, Jonathan. I'm actually beating you in one of the other leagues.
Yeah.
How about how are you doing in your other leagues?
My other leagues, not good.
Not good.
Not good. I have one league that their playoffs. This would be the third week of playoffs now, and I already got eliminated. So this
kind
is
of
fine.
league does that?
Actually, I set it up that way. That way you don't play week 17 because I hate week 17.
That is smart. That actually is.
So
smart.
it ends week 16 instead.
I think I'm going to be in a situation. I have his backup, but Le'Veon Bell going into week 17, there's a good chance that they're not going to need to play him at all.
Very true.
I have James Conner's backup, so I'm not super worried about it, but James Conner is obviously a step down from Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, but still, it's kind of annoying.
Seth, how are you doing with your playoffs?
I missed them. I was pissed.
And that is nothing new for Seth. I don't think you've been to the playoffs.
I haven't been to the playoffs since the first year I was in the league. That's not true.
How
the
many
second
years ago?
year. It was 2012, so 5 years.
You're in a drought.
Yeah.
Hey, I scored a lot of points and had a lot of points scored against me.
So it's just bad luck this year.
No, bad owner.
It's bad owner.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So we want to say congratulations to Nick Winker on claiming the loser trophy, the Donald Trump loser trophy. So we're going to get that sent to you.
We'll hand deliver it.
Yeah, we could even hand deliver it. Yeah,
a personal touch.
That's just what we do at Frontline Fantasy Football.
Yeah.
We also want to give a shout out to Dave Hansen. I was talking to his wife the other night, Monday night at a basketball game, and apparently he listens to all of our podcasts. So,
oh dang,
there's no way that's true.
I just wanted to say, if your mom is lying to me, then
wow. Okay.
Shout
I'll
out
have
to
some
Dave.
good fodder for. Okay.
We need to solve this.
If this is a lie,
we will find you.
Yeah. I won't finish that, but yeah, we will find you. We had a bye week this week for Dogs vs. Babies. I know Seth did it, but I didn't even post it, honestly. I didn't post mine. Jonathan didn't post his. Brandon,
Yeah, mine was my dog had diarrhea all weekend, so that's why the video sucked.
Well, yeah, it was a pitch black video, so it's like I'm not even gonna try to make mine.
Can't even.
My Sunday flew by.
Tired.
But the babies and dogs, they needed a break. So
yeah,
they needed to rest up.
It was
They took
extra
long naps.
Yes, we'll finish strong these past 3 weeks. So
yeah,
I think we found the title of our episode. Seth's dog has diarrhea.
Runs for days.
Perfect title.
Yep.
So one more thing I wanted to address before we get into the injuries and news. It was the Colts versus Bills game. I don't know if you guys saw that game at all.
Oh my goodness, that was awesome.
I saw videos afterwards.
That was so
People
awesome.
just getting tackled and buried in snow, and it was.
It
I
looked
wanted
like
to
a bunch
play
of kids out in like a schoolyard. That was awesome.
Looked like a foot of snow on the field that they were.
It was 8 inches by
in.
the end of the game,
Oof.
but it looked like way more.
It did.
It was crazy because it just looked like when everybody got tackled, it looked like an explosion. Snow was flying everywhere in the air. Dudes were picking snow out of their face masks. It was great. I wanted to play.
I appreciate the crap out of the kickers in that game. That would add a whole new level of
especially
difficulty.
Vinatieri.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead.
Wait, because he hit. I don't know if was it game winning.
Yeah, I think so.
Or did you? Oh, you might not be referring to what I was referring to. I saw that because he missed 2 field goals during the game.
Oh, I know.
So the guys all kicked. Were you talking about all those guys got and kicked all the snow around the ball?
Before he kicked those, but he missed 2 field goals.
Okay.
Which brought down, I believe it was because it brought down his overall percentage. He's gonna miss out on a $500,000 bonus.
Oh.
Because of that game.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't need the money, but man.
Well, still, you're playing for incentives.
You want to get paid.
Hopefully, they just give it to him anyway, because that's
garbage.
There's a good chance he would have made it had there not been a foot of snow on the ground.
Right. If it was normal weather, normal day. Ugh.
That's crazy, though. I was, shocked when I read that. So let's move into injuries. Biggest injury of the week. Nathan Peterman goes down with a concussion.
Huge.
Decided to run the ball in that snow. Had no footing. I don't think he could slide. He got wrecked.
Oof.
It was a hard hit. I don't know how the defender got that much speed in all that snow, but
right.
he wrecked Nathan Peterman.
He found a dry patch and launched himself.
Took off. So Nathan Peterman out. Well, maybe out. Tyrod Taylor, knee, also a maybe out, so you don't know what you're getting.
Who else do they have?
No!
It is the Vikings. The Vikings old. No, it was Joe Webb.
Joe Webb. Yeah, he was a Viking.
Joe Webb plays.
Oh, boy, is he bad.
Fun fact for you.
It's like a wide receiver, right?
37 quarterbacks played last week.
Oh.
Nice.
32 teams in the NFL.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's rough.
A little nugget for you. The next biggest injury, Josh McCown, broken left throwing hand, which...
No!
Yeah, top 7 quarterback. Brandon was super high on him. Brandon picked him up on his team, which should have been a red flag for everybody.
Very true.
He ends the day with negative 1.5 points, and he's done for the year. He's going to have season-ending surgery.
Speaking of sad. Brandon, the stat that he gave in that thread was hilarious. His quarterback, defense, and kicker combined for negative points.
What?
This week.
Because he had Ryan Suckup with 0. His boy, Ryan Suckup.
Oh, no.
Josh McCown. And then
had negative points, and then his defense had either like -1 or barely any points.
Can't remember.
It was fantastic.
Is it like the Eagles defense or
something?
something?
No, he has the Lions and somebody.
Like that's like a new record for having everything go wrong.
Seriously. You didn't think that Brandon could hit a new low. But he did.
But he can.
Yeah. Apparently it's possible.
Skill. All right, and then the biggest injury of the week. Carson Wentz down ACL.
No!
Yeah.
No! Seriously, we just need to loop that over and over again.
No!
Oh, that's great right there.
Did you see that immediately the odds on the NFC, the odds for what team in the NFC is going to win the Super Bowl, they immediately dropped.
Oof.
Huge for Philadelphia. Guess who's the odds-on favorite now, which I hate?
Cowboys?
No, the Vikings.
You hate?
Oh, for the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's going to jinx them?
Out of that division.
Out to get, I can't remember what they said, but I don't ever like anybody thinking that the Vikings are going to do anything good, because that's exactly when they're going to poop their pants.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about quarterback play, so I'm going to call this right now. The Vikings lose first round of the playoffs.
Ooh,
they'll have a bye week, but they'll lose first round whoever they play.
I could totally see it.
Bold.
I don't think it's that bold. They're the Chiefs. Everybody thinks they're good. They're regular season warriors, and it really doesn't matter. Case Keenum isn't going to take you there. Average quarterbacks can get you there, but you got to have a good quarterback to actually win it.
They have Bridgewater waiting.
Oh, yeah. Average on average. So, I guess we'll talk about it in one of our upcoming sections, but what to do with quarterbacks, especially since those 2 top 10 quarterbacks went down. So, biggest piece of news, there really wasn't a ton except for that Aaron Rodgers is finally going to be back. And I know he should have been picked up in your league already, but go check. I mean, there's going to be some leagues where he's not.
Yeah, I saw apparently he's owned in 80% of Yahoo leagues, so that 20%, I mean, grab him.
Are you asleep, or I don't know what's going on. I actually picked him up on the waiver wire in one of my ESPN leagues this morning.
Nice.
So, pretty happy about that, especially since I had Carson Wentz. We're going to go into our first segment, and that's going to be quarterback replacements. And, Jonathan, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so, I mean, right now there's not a whole lot on the waiver wire just because there's been so many quarterback injuries already. People have already picked up some, but there are a couple I have.
Why do you have Joe Webb in your notes?
I just randomly remembered his name and put him in there.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. First one, Blake Bortles. People don't like Bortles, so he's probably on your waiver wire, but he has had no less than 18.4 points in each game the past 3 weeks. So
that is impressive.
He's on a good streak for sure. And now he gets a home matchup against the Texans. Obviously, like I said, Bortles is kind of hard to trust. People don't really like him, but he has good matchups the next 2 weeks. It could be a good Wentz fill-in for now.
Yeah, I like him as well. I had him on mine as well. He has at least one passing touchdown in 7 of his last 8 games, averaging 17 points over the last 8 games. And then in his past 2 games, he's thrown 2 touchdown passes. And then just like the remaining schedule, Jonathan mentioned he's playing the Texans. He also finishes with the 49ers and Titans. So you're not afraid of either of those defenses.
No. Titans, I mean, a little bit, but they're still he's definitely playable against them.
Right. So this one's kind of he's there. I wouldn't have him as a complete replacement, but you might plug him in and play him for a few of the 3 games left. Deshaun Kaiser, 4 passing touchdowns in his last 3 games.
Ooh.
Has a passing touchdown in 4 of his last 5 games, averaging 16 points per game over the last 6 games. And then he has an obvious rushing upside. I think he's averaging 7 points a game with his legs. So,
nice.
I mean, he's kind of not like Cam Newton, but he's kind of like Cam Newton, where Cam Newton didn't have a great throwing game last game versus the Vikings, but he had that 70 yards rushing, 65 yards in 1 play. So you that rushing upside is kind of big, and right now you're really not going to find too much on the waiver wire.
No, you're not. You can't be too picky.
Remaining schedule: Ravens, Bears, and Steelers. So Ravens and Steelers you kind of fear, but I mean the Steelers just got thrown all over the other night. So
very true. And I think he has Josh Gordon there too. You know, he has like a other weapon.
Corey Coleman,
yeah.
Njoku, the speedy tight end.
Yeah.
So
there's potential. My next one I had was Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy's been looking great. He only has 1 touchdown so far, but the passing yards are there. He's had around 300 passing yards in each of his past 2 games. He's also been sustaining drives, which is huge for the 49ers, and I think the touchdowns will come. His matchups the next 2 weeks are tough. He has the Titans and the Jaguars, especially the Jaguars matchup is tough. But in Week 17, it gets a little bit better. He plays against the Rams, who just allowed a crap ton of points to the Eagles. So,
yeah, he was pretty much the last one I had as well, or I was gonna mention. But I think the biggest one that Jonathan and I kind of wanted to talk about was Aaron Rodgers. So
yes,
averaging 21 points per game before his injury, and he's pretty much a must start even this week for me as well. I think you are thinking the same way.
Yes. I was just thinking, it's like there's not many quarterbacks I would play over him right now, I would say. I mean, if you have him, I think you have to play him. I'm playing him over Rivers. I'm playing him over Breeze. Maybe Russell Wilson would maybe be the exception.
Yeah, this week in my rankings, I had Big Ben, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, Drew Brees, Matthew Stafford, Phillip Rivers, and then Aaron Rodgers. But even looking at that, I would maybe move Breeze, drop Breeze from 4 to 7, and move Aaron Rodgers up to 6. Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers would be kind of my point. But even saying that out loud, I kind of want to take Aaron Rodgers over Matthew Stafford.
That just sounds good.
So I'm going to update my rankings for sure tomorrow.
Yeah. Another thing, too, I thought was cool, but the 2 times that Aaron Rodgers has come back from injury, he's thrown for over 300 yards and then 400 yards in those 2 times. So he definitely comes back strong.
I like that.
Which is cool, yeah. So that's a little bit of a confidence booster in him as well.
Might have to make him my number 1 quarterback.
There you go.
So, Jordy Nelson, what's your thoughts on him?
I'm just gonna ask, do I immediately roster him?
You dropped him.
You dropped him?
No, I'm saying he's on my bench. I've had him on my bench all year.
I think he's back.
Do I put him in the lineup?
Yes, I would.
Currently, I have him ranked as a wide receiver 2. So,
okay.
I think must start.
Yes, he's definitely a must start for me as well. And I don't know. It's just they obviously they have that awesome connection, and I think Jordy's. I kind of actually it's weird. I picked him up from someone that dropped him, so I'm pretty happy. But he's definitely. I think he's back to his previous status.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm ranked as my number 36 for flex rankings.
Nice.
So you just you want to play him. Don't think too much about it. You're starting him. You're starting Devontae Adams. Randall Cobb even is kind of interesting now.
I would say he's on like the wide receiver 3 flex.
Yeah,
somewhere in that range.
You definitely pick him up just to see if he could end up being a flex starter for you.
Right, and I think even Jamal Williams. I still think he thrives in that too. You know.
Right.
I think he still has his value that he's been having.
Yeah, I'm in between with him. I'm undecided on whether there's going to be, 2 safeties now and not as many people in the box.
Right.
Or he's just not going to get as many carries as he's used to getting.
True. They may not rely on the run as much.
Or just those like simple dump-off passes that he was getting in the passing game are now going to go to Randall Cobb or Devontae Adams or Jordy Nelson. So the targets he was receiving as well could possibly go down. So it's more of a wait and see, but you're still starting him.
Yeah, I think you have to.
All right, so let's move on to our next segment. That would be studs to duds. Jonathan, you want to talk about this one?
Right. So this one is kind of people that either started out strong or came into the season looking like they should be good, or kind of early on they were really good. Now they've been kind of fading. So this was studs that may now be benchable, that are risky, stuff like that.
All right, so I'll take the first one. I kind of went a different direction. This guy, I really wouldn't consider him to be a stud, but
right.
He was just so hyped up, and that is Devontae Parker.
Ah, nice.
Only has one double-digit game this year, and that's week 3. Technically week 2 because they had that bye week in week 1.
Right.
6 games this year, he's had 4 catches or less. And then just kind of the emergence, not really the emergence, but Kenny Stills has just been a consistent player for the Dolphins.
Right.
Just seems to take Devontae Parker's targets. I think even Jay Cutler is relying more on Stills than Parker.
Very true. And I've also heard talks of he had that ankle injury, I believe, and then they're just saying that he hasn't looked really the same since that injury. So I think might be something behind the scenes going on there too. But yeah, I agree. He's definitely disappointed.
Yeah,
for sure. My first one I had was Mike Evans. He's clearly been a disappointment. You start him every week, and he gets you about 5 points these days, which is not good.
He's crazy talented.
Yeah, he is. Like he's been.
You suck. Yeah,
he used to be a touchdown machine, and grab anything thrown his way. But
no.
He hasn't scored a touchdown since week 7, and he scored under 10 points the past 7 weeks too in standard. And since Winston returned in week 13, Evans has just seen 16% of the targets.
So I don't get.
I don't understand. Why wouldn't you throw him the ball?
I don't know.
But I saw another tweet. Darius Slay was supposedly covering him last week, but then even when Darius Slay wasn't covering him, he still did nothing. 2 catches for 25 yards last week.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like Marvin Jones was being shadowed by Xavier Rhodes, and Marvin Jones made Xavier Rhodes look like a fool, and Mike Evans is way better. I don't know. I don't care if a good receiver is shadowed by a stud corner. He's still going to get his.
He still should show up.
Yeah,
I agree.
Frustrating for those of you who own him, but you still got to play him.
I don't know. In my opinion, you don't start him anymore. You don't have to.
So I have him ranked as my number 11 wide receiver this week. Do you see anybody behind him that you would rather play over him? Go ahead and read him off if you can.
I'd probably play Doug Baldwin. I'd probably play Jordy and Josh Gordon too.
That confident in Jordy?
Yes. Yep. To me, I have him on some teams. Maybe it's just because I'm a little hurt. But to me, with those bad performances, like 7 weeks in a row, I just can't trust him anymore.
I mean, got to be like your boy Kareem Hunt. He's gonna
come
back once.
Right when I bench him is when he's going to come back, probably. So this week.
How would you bench him then? Do everybody a favor.
Right. It's happening.
All right, so my next one we're looking at is Evan Ingram. This past 4 weeks, he's had one game in double digits. He's had one touchdown in the past 4 games. That double-digit game was with Geno Smith, and he now has Eli throwing to him. And he still sees, 5-6 targets a game, but I don't know. It's just I think teams have caught on that he's the guy. And
right.
I mean, Sterling Shepard was injured and hasn't been himself completely. And then you got like Tavares King and who knows what's his face off the street. He's playing wide receiver for the Giants. And then, I mean, Evan Ingram's really the only person to focus on. And you don't got to worry about the run game because the run game's been a mess.
Right. I know. And it's just, I mean, their offense as a whole just isn't looking great at all. It's hard to trust him.
Right.
I agree. The next one I had was Lamar Miller. He always has that solid floor, but it seems like this past couple weeks it's kind of dipped a little bit lower. Last week he had 17 carries for 53 yards. Week before that he only had 53 rushing yards against the Titans. He's had 60 yards from scrimmage or less in 2 of his past 3 games. And now he's up against Jacksonville, who are very tough as well.
So I've heard.
Yes. So, I mean, the Texans as a whole have only rushed for 3 yards per carry over the past 3 weeks, which is last in the league.
Ouch.
Yeah, so they are not doing well. And I think it's also tricky because all the injuries they've had at running backs, they've lost Alfred Blue, they lost Deonta Foreman, and basically Lamar Miller's the only guy back there, and he's still struggling.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there has been more volume, he just hasn't done anything with it.
And now you have T.J. Yates throwing the ball. I guess I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't mention this. So Tom Savage injured.
Right.
Concussion. Tried to come back in the game. Actually did come back in the game. But from the replay, it looked like after he took that initial hit, it looked like he had a seizure on the field.
Yeah, he was like convulsing.
Yeah, so I'm not
really
sure.
weird.
It's kind of a failure in the Texans medical department, but
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to hear a lot about that. Also, I don't know how I forgot to mention, but Alvin Kamara getting injured in that Thursday night game.
Yeah.
Concussion.
Yeah. But should be back this
That's
week.
going to change so many people's fantasy.
Yeah. Well,
Oh my! Is that the Sean Alexander? Do you remember that? Like this would have been like the mid 2000s. I can't remember. Do you remember Sean Alexander was in a game? Do you know what I'm talking about? And like a bunch of people got royally pissed. That was obviously bigger because it was like championship week. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember him getting hurt. I remember
it wasn't him getting hurt. It was like he needed like 1 yard or something, or he needed a touchdown and they were on the 1 yard line and he didn't get it. And because that year he was like the back, which shows you how old. When was he relevant? When was the last time Sean Alexander was relevant?
We were
long,
2005.
Yeah.
A long time ago. Yes.
But anyway, Alvin Kamara, a lot of I mean, he got you to the playoffs.
Yeah. He lost me my playoff game, actually.
Oh,
He did.
nice.
Yeah. That's great. But yeah, I know.
Sucks to suck. That's why you do 2-week playoffs. People.
Right. That was.
Don't let flukes happen.
It was the second week.
Oh.
So you just
Never mind.
My team was bad.
Jonathan just sucks.
Yes, basically.
But yeah, Alvin Kamara injured. Jonathan said looks like he's going to play next week. He tweeted that he is. So
I trust
if that
him.
means anything.
Yeah.
So you finished with yours?
Yep. that's
Okay,
it.
so my next one, Jerick McKinnon. Immediately after Dalvin Cook's injury, those next 4 weeks, he was averaging 17 points per game. The least amount of carries he had through those 4 games was 14. And now, they had their bye week in week 9. Since their bye week, the most amount of carries he's had is 14. After their bye week, he's averaging 6.5 points per game. So 17 points per game before the bye week, 6.5 after.
That's quite the drop.
0 touchdowns after the bye week. So,
yikes.
yeah.
Ugh.
Basically, it just shows Latavius Murray's taking a good chunk of his role.
Seriously, taking over. And I think the other thing is too, I don't know, for the most part they're either winning the game or they're close in the game, like the score's close.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like then that bodes well for Latavius Murray. But if they're behind, more McKinnon time. So I think game script has definitely favored Murray so far too.
Yeah, I just don't know that I'm willing to start him.
No, I would not be either.
All right, your next
My
one.
next one, Stephon Diggs. We're going with that Viking theme. But coming into the
good
season,
God.
and even like the first 3
What a
weeks,
friggin' joke.
he seemed like that stud, you know. But
Against the Saints?
yeah,
Oh, my gosh.
he destroyed him. But this recently, he's had double-digit points in just 3 of his past 6 games, and that's in PPR. So in standard, it's been even worse. In standard, he hasn't had double digits since week 10, and just has
Yowzers.
3 games. And just has 3 games with double-digit points in standard. He's no longer, in my opinion, he's just no longer the stud he was at the beginning of the year. Adam Thielen's kind of taken over and become the wide receiver 1 on the Vikings, and Stephon Diggs is just one that you really can't start right now.
Yeah, agreed. He kind of did it last year. I had him, and you were really excited about him, and you know he's quick and potential and all that. You just see it, but he drops off. Whether that's quarterback play or I don't know targets or coaching, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
He's not a must start anymore.
Nope, not the guy he was.
All right, my last one is Michael Crabtree. Hasn't had double-digit fantasy points since week 6. Hasn't scored a touchdown since week 7, and averaging 6 points per game in his last 6 games played.
Oh,
Has a lot to do with Derek Carr. Derek Carr's just been a mess. The Raiders in general have been a mess. But
right.
yeah, you're starting him, but you're not happy about it. I don't think you're going to find many better options in a 10, 12, 16 team league.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, I think it's hard just because the potential's there, you know. He has that chemistry with Carr, and really there's no other wide receiver. Cooper's been injured. You know, there's really no other star wide receiver that they have.
Seth Roberts.
Seth, I always forget about that guy.
Yeah.
Jared Cook, I
Yeah.
guess, is the only guy
The
that
legend.
is a, yeah, the myth.
Yeah. Yeah. That's more like it.
Yes. But yeah, he should do well, but yeah,
He just
he
doesn't.
doesn't.
All right, so let's move into bold predictions. Seth, hook us up with some music.
Oh, I'm on it.
Can you do it without an Applebee's ad this time? Or?
I don't know. It might be might be an Outback time.
I'll switch it up.
Figure it out.
Chili's.
All right.
Oh, no.
Baby back ribs.
We got, what is this? Is this, this is some Southern sub shop. There we go. Sorry about
Yes.
that.
Oh, just got an update. Alvin Kamara returns to full practice, says he's good to go versus Jets. So
Let's go.
great news. All right, so reviewing last week's bold predictions, week 14 started off with Austin. No Seahawk running back scores more than 5 points. That's incorrect. Mike Davis scored 6.5 points.
Close, though.
Close, but no cigar. Brandon, Des Bryant does not crack the top 60 receivers. That's incorrect. He was the 17th best receiver.
When I saw he had a touchdown, I laughed
Yeah.
at Brandon.
Brandon was furious. I asked him about that. My first one, Steven Anderson will be a top 10 tight end. I was incorrect. He was a 29th. Big letdown.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan, Josh Gordon will be a top 8 receiver. Incorrect. 19th.
Ugh.
So,
Yeah. Still okay.
Austin's second one, Josh McCown will be a top 3 quarterback. That's incorrect. He was the 37th best quarterback in a 32-team league. Technically, I mean, he had negative 1.5, so that's worse than, people that didn't play. So if I wanted to get real technical, he'd be like 200th, but,
True.
That's awesome.
yeah. Brandon, Ryan Suckup will score more points than Le'Veon Bell. That's incorrect because Ryan Suckup had 0 and Le'Veon Bell had 30.5. So
Just a little
way off.
bit.
Way off. And my second one, Josh Gordon will score more fantasy points than Julio Jones, Mike Evans, A.J. Green, Brandon Cooks. And that's correct.
Wow.
Josh Gordon had 12.9. Julio had 9.8. Mike Evans had 2.5. A.J. Green had 4.4. And Brandon Cooks, Seth's stud receiver, had 3.8.
Woo, that's
Freaking
impressive.
sucks. I'm not going to start him this week.
That's a good call.
Thank you. I would start Brandon Cooks this
Yes,
week, by the way.
do
So-
it.
Against Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And Jonathan's second one, which I was happy to see, Kareem Hunt will
Yeah.
get 100 total yards and a touchdown. That's correct. He had 138 total yards and 1 touchdown. He actually had 116 rushing yards, so you could have even went with the rushing.
I could have gone
Yeah.
gone bolder.
You could have gone bolder.
Woo.
But Jonathan got it, so let's
Let's go.
take a look at the standings right now.
That comeback though.
In first, we have myself at 11 for 30 at 37%. Second, we have Brandon 6 for 29 at 21%. Austin, we have 3 for 20 for 15%. And then Jonathan bringing up the rear, 3 for 29 at 10%. But he is in double digits this week.
Let's
so
go. First time ever.
Improvement. First time in a while.
Slowly but surely catching up.
All right, so let's go ahead and read our bold predictions for this week.
My first one. Bold prediction. I think Jordy Nelson will return and have with 2 touchdowns to his name.
Oh my goodness. Let's
Okay.
go.
Yeah.
I would love that. That hasn't happened since what? Week 3?
Yeah. It's gonna happen again.
All right, you heard it here first. Brandon's first one, I don't know how bold this is, but Ryan Suckup will score more points than Derrick Henry. Considering he was going against
Dude,
Le'Veon Bell.
His fascination with Suckup's weird.
Yeah, it is a little weird.
I think it's
He was
funny.
going against Le'Veon and Alvin Kamara, and then now Derrick Henry.
Henry,
So,
who had the lowest usage
do we think this is bold?
ever last week.
I say no.
What if we do Henry and Murray combined?
Okay, we'll do that. Got to be here to defend it.
Yeah.
All right, so that's his first one. My first one, you got to find it. Kenyon Drake finishes as a top 3 running back.
Oh,
So I like his chances this week.
that's bold.
Jonathan, you're second.
Second one, Rex Burkhead scores more points than Tyreek Hill. In PPR. We can do standard. Be a little bit easier. Questioning boldness over here.
Yeah.
We could pick a different receiver. Trying
And
to think of
Antonio Brown.
one. Oh, I would never. That's too bold.
Okay.
Maybe more than.
Adam Thielen.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. I like that. Okay.
Doing
Rex
it.
Burkhead scores more than Adam Thielen.
Boom.
All right, Brandon, also his second one, Le'Veon Bell will not be a top 10 running back this week. I have him ranked as my number 2 going against the Patriots.
That is bold.
My second one, jeez, I keep losing it. Robert Woods and Chris Hogan finish as top 15 receivers. So 2 guys kind of coming back from injury,
Yeah.
finish in the top 15.
Okay.
And then I had a third one, but this was, since Brandon's not here, it doesn't mean as much, but Ryan Suckup scores 2 or less points.
Oh, man.
Considering he scored 0 last week, I mean, that's not super bold,
It's an improvement.
but
I like it.
we'll leave it. All right, so let's go ahead and move into our next section, late season surprises.
Yeah.
So,
I'm excited.
contain
Sorry.
yourself.
It's-
Jeez.
yeah.
I can't help it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, manual sound drops. All right,
Yeah, I
so
like that.
That's an evolution.
I guess, go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah. So my first one, I have been on this bandwagon for a little while, but it's Rex Burkhead. He's been getting the touchdowns in the red zone. He's a PPR machine, and he's had 6 touchdowns the last 5 weeks.
That's
split,
good.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, it's pretty good. He's been splitting time with Deion Lewis, but they're both used pretty frequently and evenly. For me, he's a flex option here on out. I'm actually in my league. I have to start him as my running back too, but that's just
I wouldn't be
because-
mad about that.
Yeah, and it's a PPR league, so you're
Yeah.
okay.
He's a decent RB too.
Yeah, he's doing good.
All right, first one, Marquise Goodwin. Just has 68 receiving yards, at least 68 receiving yards in his last 5 games played. So that's even before Garoppolo.
Yeah.
With Garoppolo, he's averaging 10.2 points per game. And he ranks 12th in wide receiver fantasy points over the past 2 weeks. So when Garoppolo is playing. So you got to like that. And he's out there in a lot of leagues. I know he's out there in our league, Seth.
Hint,
You need a wide receiver.
hint.
And you're not going to start Brandon Cooks, which I would start Brandon Cooks over Marquise Goodwin. But
Yes.
just saying, 10 points a game. Jonathan, your next one.
Next one, Alex Collins. He's been relevant, for most of the year, but he's just now beginning to really heat up. The past 6 games, he's had at least 1 touchdown the past 4 weeks and has gotten double-digit carries since week 5. He's a solid running back, too. He has a light upcoming schedule with the Browns, the Colts, and the Bengals. So no one you really fear there. Definitely startable from here on out.
Gotta like that.
Yeah.
My next one, D.D. Westbrook. At least 5 catches in his last 3 games. You can see his snaps are rising. And then just interesting fact, leads the Jaguars in targets, catches, and yards over the past month. So you would have thought that would have been Marquise Lee.
Yeah, you
but
really would have.
D.D. Westbrook kind of taken over that role. Scored a touchdown last game too. So
He's another one that is he's pretty available in leagues too.
yeah.
Be a good playoff pickup.
Mm-hmm.
My next one I had was Mike Davis. He's the new Seattle feature back. Is that like the 5th one this year or something like that? They've been going through him. But he has double-digit carries the past 2 games against very tough run defenses. Had 60-something yards against each one of them. But now the schedule gets better. He has Rams, Cowboys, and Cardinals. So I mean, he could be a flex option. Nothing more really than that. But someone that you really wouldn't have expected to be leading the Seattle backfield.
Yeah, the Niners got rid of him last year, and I mean,
He didn't do anything for them really
No.
either. Yeah.
just a side note, I think the Seahawks are wishing they didn't cut Alex Collins.
Ooh. Very true.
Yeah, just in the need of a running back. Try to play some with some chubby dude named Eddie Lacy. All right, my next one, Corey Coleman. In 3 of his last 4 games, he has at least 64 receiving yards, averaging 7 points per game over his last 4 games. So not super great, but, there's upside there. And then he had a 0-catch game over those 4 games. So if you take that out, averaging 9 points per game. So even with Josh Gordon back, I mean, it's almost helped him. He's still getting yards, and he's still an explosive weapon for Deshaun Kaiser.
Mm-hmm. They have two good wide receivers, him and Josh Gordon. They look good. My next one was Jamal Williams, the new Packer workhorse by injury default.
He's a Packer workforce.
He's a workforce to be reckoned.
Nice.
I don't know where that came from, but he's had double-digit.
Mouth.
Yes, came out of my mouth.
From your brain.
Yeah, somehow. My brain is tired. He's had double-digit games the past 3 weeks and hasn't had less than 15 carries since week 9. I don't know. We kind of talked about it, but I still think he benefits from Rodgers a little bit. He's still a solid RB2, running back 2 for me. I'm still starting him, basically.
I think he benefits too. I was saying I wouldn't be surprised if, some of his work, he lost a little passing down work or lost a couple carries that took away, his 15 points to 12 or 10. So
true. I can see that.
Still a must start.
Yes,
as we said earlier.
For sure.
All right, so I didn't write any notes down about him, but Kenyon Drake also wanted to bring up too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's taken off. He's a stud.
Seriously.
He can play. I mean, yeah, he is a Dolphin, Seth. Since Jay Ajayi left, he's been, him and Damian Williams have kind of been going back and forth, and Damian Williams got injured, and I think Kenyon Drake has really sealed the job.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it'd be a Dolphins thing to do to bring, once Williams is healed, to bring him back into the mix. But I really hope they don't. Hope they just keep Drake.
Yeah,
keep rolling.
I mean, it'll be really interesting to see where we're going to rank him next year.
Very true.
Could be pretty close to a top 10 to 12 back.
Maybe where Ajayi was last year. Almost,
Ajayi was like 7.
Yeah, could be around there.
Yeah, easily.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to our last section, and that is matchup nightmares. Just kind of reviewing some matchups we don't like this week.
Going
into the playoffs, and what you should do.
Right, matchups matter. That's for sure. My first one I had was Lamar Miller. He's going against the Jaguars. They're a top run defense. They held Mike Davis to 66 yards last week and to Frank Gore to 61 the week before that. And that's kind of been Lamar Miller's trend the past few weeks too, is just like that 50 to 60 yards. And I mean, if you want that floor, that's great. But for me, I want someone more of a higher floor. So more upside than that. So I don't know. He's risky for me this week.
Josh Gordon's my first one. I'm still starting him. I still have him ranked decently high.
Yeah.
Look at my rankings real quick. Josh Gordon, have him ranked at number 16. But going against the Ravens, they haven't allowed a touchdown to a receiver since week 9. They're ranked 5th against receivers, and the receiver groups versus the Ravens average 16 points per game. So 16 would be good for one receiver. For multiple,
it's not good.
Yeah, so I mean, and I could see the Browns getting even less. So I'm really nervous about starting Josh Gordon. If you're starting him, he shouldn't be higher than a flex.
That's fair. My next one I had was Titan running backs. So Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray. They're going against the 49ers, who have only allowed 3 yards per carry to opposing backs over their past 3 games. And gotta rep the Niners.
Yeah, I had to. Sorry,
show it off.
Distracted you. I had to show the 49ers shirt off.
That's okay. So they limited both Jordan Howard and Lamar Miller the past 2 weeks to running back 60 and 39 overall. So definitely a force to be reckoned with. And yeah, I'm not high on either of those running backs this week.
So my next one is DeAndre Hopkins going against the Jaguars. I think anybody versus the Jaguars you're going to be worried about.
Yes.
Still going to be a must start, obviously. Even with the third string quarterback.
Yeah, Yates.
Yeah, TJ Yates. He's just going to chuck it up. He actually looked better than Tom Savage, if I had to say.
I agree.
But, you're not going to expect more than 10 points from him. Jaguars are first against wide receivers. Excluding last week, the Jaguars have not allowed a group of wide receivers to have more than 130 receiving yards since week 5.
And that was against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, who sling it all the time.
Yeah, Russell Wilson was just out there throwing bombs, hoping somebody would catch him, and he threw 3 picks because he was doing that.
Right.
Then at one point this year, the Jaguars had a streak of 9 weeks where they did not allow a receiving touchdown.
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness. 9
That's
weeks.
incredible.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I love that.
So Jaguars' defense is stingy.
They're legit.
If somebody were to score on them, I would see it being DeAndre Hopkins, but you can't be excited about that matchup.
No. You have to temper your expectations a little bit. Speaking of tempering your expectations, the same can be said of Tyreek Hill this week against the Chargers. The Chargers have allowed 27.3% of passes 15 yards or further to be completed, which is the lowest rate in the league. And they're only averaging Tyreek Hill is only averaging 44.3 yards per game at home. And this doesn't bode well. For me, it doesn't bode well for his chances this week.
Yeah, I really like the Chargers secondary. They really improved it. And
heck yeah,
you cannot block Joey Bosa to save your life.
No.
Nobody can block
He's
him.
coming at you.
Yeah, so definitely,
R.I.P. Alex Smith this week.
Yeah. Wear some extra pads, Alex.
Yeah.
My next one, Frank Gore versus the Broncos. Just fatigue. He's a 34-year-old running back, had 36 carries in the snow last game, so quick turnaround. They play tomorrow in the Thursday night game.
Oof.
Broncos ranked 9th against the rush. In 9 of 13 games this year, the Broncos have not allowed 100 rushing yards by a group of running backs, so that's pretty stingy, even though their defense seems to let wide receivers score on them a little more than you would think. And then to start off the season, the Broncos had a streak of 7 games where they did not allow a rushing touchdown.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
tough
impressive.
matchup for Frank Gore. And I know he's not going to be in a lot of people's teams, but you're definitely going to question starting him, especially since you see that people have actually done well against the Broncos.
Winning.
Very true. I'm going with the same trend. I'm going to talk about T.Y. Hilton versus the Broncos. T.Y. Hilton's obviously he's been inconsistent all year, not trustworthy at all. But if you're in a position where you have to start him, you're not feeling good about it. The Broncos have allowed the fewest receptions per game to opposing wide receivers. So even though they've allowed those touchdowns and stuff like that to wide receivers, they're still very limiting of what they allow.
No, yeah.
So definitely not high on Hilton at all.
My next one, Andy Dalton versus the Vikings. Seth Vikings.
Ooh.
He's kind of a streamer that could be out there. Every year he seems to finish around the top 12 quarterbacks. So you kind of might be thinking about him with Carson Wentz and Josh McCown injuries, but this week against the Vikings, I would avoid him. The Vikings are 5th against the pass. The Vikings have only allowed 2 teams this year to pass for over 300 yards. And starting in week 7, the Vikings have given up a touchdown in every other game. So this is kind of not loosey-goosey. I don't want to take Matthew Berry's statement, but this is just kind of like a random stat. But starting in week 7, the Vikings have given up a touchdown in every other game, and they gave up one last week. So following that trend, starting in week 7, they would not score this week or not give up a passing touchdown.
That drop bomb, though. I like it.
All right. You want to rattle your 2 off?
Yep. Got 2 more. First one, New York Giant running backs versus the Eagles. Eagles have allowed the fewest yards from scrimmage to opposing backfield, so stay away from them this week. And then Joe Mixon versus the Vikings, coming back from a concussion. He's actually still in concussion protocol, so watch out for his status. But he's going against the Vikings, a defense that are allowing the second fewest yardage per game to running back. So I would stay away from Mixon as well, or Bernard, whatever one is going to be getting a starting call this week.
All right, so that's going to do it for our podcast. We want to thank you for watching / listening.
Yeah.
Listening, geez. So check us out on our website at frontlinefantasyfootball.com. You can see Jonathan's blogs, Brandon Starts and Sits, podcasts, videos. I mean, it's got everything on there. Get links to our Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. So make sure you check that out. You should also follow us on Twitter. I mean, if you want to ask a question, we've literally answered every question that's been asked to us. I mean,
Dang.
I saw a question last week. It was under the hashtag fantasy football advice, but it was what was it? Got an escort pregnant. And now she wants me to pay $200 for an abortion. I almost answered that one, even though it wasn't at me, but I chose to go against that one. But we answer every question.
What a way to end this episode.
Yeah. We answer every question that's shot at us. You can also find us, Seth, on Apple Music.
Apple Podcasts.
Gosh, dang it.
You're just taking after Brandon. So.
I have Apple Music written down here. Also, before we go, you should check out fantasylosers.com / you can see these awesome trophies.
Yeah. Oh,
These
sorry.
awesome trophies.
I didn't get the memo.
Yeah, there we go. Jonathan's
Boom.
finally holding up,
Boom.
bobblehead. We got a toilet with a crown. You can engrave them. They're pretty sweet. Check them out. Also, we'll give another shout out to Dave. You the man. So remember, score more fantasy points than your opposing team this week. Until next time.